Hi all, welcome to cloud-based YouTube channel. Today I am going to explain what is meant by data factory and what is ETL and why Azure Data Factory and linked services and what is meant by data sets and activity and pipeline and what is integration runtime and what is Azure storage account and types of storage accounts and also what are the different types of access types, storage performance and also what are the replicates in Azure and how to create the Azure storage account and how to create the Azure Data Factory. All these things today I am going to explain. Let's get into the PPT. First of all, we can go for like what is meant by Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory is nothing but is the cloud-based ETL and data integration services. So that allows you to create data-driven workflows for orchestrating the data movement and data transformation at data at scale. So that is nothing but if we want to load data from one storage account to the another storage account, so this is like acting as a cloud-based ETL tool. ETL is nothing but we can do extract, transfer, and load. So here, for example, here I have the blob storages. So in the blob storage data, I want to move into the another SQL server. So all these things is going to be managed by my Azure Data Factory. So in the Azure Data Factory, what I need to do, I need to go for in the Azure Data Factory. I need to create the integration runtime, and I need to create the linked services and the data sets. These things I am going to explain in the next video of this session. So today now we are going to go to this data factory. So in the data factory, this is the cloud based ETL tool. So ETL is nothing but extract, transfer, and load. So first of all, we can extract the data from the particular storage accounts. After that, we can load this data to the another location. So there I want to do the some transformations. If I want to transfer any data from one storage account to another storage accounts, or I need to load data all the data at a time, or I need to do the any incremental load. So based on our requirement, we can go for the to load data from one storage account to the another storage account. So this is integration service. So integration service is nothing but here we can here I can interact with the multiple sources. So if I want to interact with the multiple sources, so I need integration runtime. So in the Azure we have the like multiple integration runtime, like Azure integration runtime and self-hosted integration runtime and Azure SSA integration runtime. So these things I am going to explain the later on this video. So this is allow you to create the data-driven workflows. Workflow is nothing but step-by-step process how we can load the data from one storage account to another storage account. So data movement, so that data movement is going to be happen between the storage accounts. So one storage account and the storage account, the data movement is going to be happen. So the data is going to transform at the scale. So by using this ADF, like we can create the pipelines and also we can schedule our data pipelines. So we can ingest data from the different sources to the other different location we can load. And also we can build this by using this ADF, we can build the complex ETL process. So we can transform the data. So in the data factory we have the like multiple options. That is nothing but data flows also we have there. So data flows we can like without code we can transform our data from the our stage, I mean source to the our destination we can load. So in the Azure Data Factory, like it will support the like we can publish whatever the transformations we can publish. We can do the some analytics by using the we have to connect to the multiple sources. So Azure Data Factory will provide the multiple connectors like 90 plus connectors we can connect by using this Azure Data Factory. So then coming to the what is mean by ETL. So ETL is nothing but ETL is used in the data warehousing. So you know right, data warehousing is nothing but we can store our historical data. For example, yeah, can I take an example? So I have the one hospital management system. So in the hospital management system, we have to like do the some test on the daily basis. So some test and some medical informations and the doctor's information, everything we have to maintain in our system. So our system like acting as a for storage account, our system is going to acting like as a storage account. So there are all the one day data we can store into the our system. So the previous year, I mean previous day data, we can load all those data into the data warehouse. So by using data warehouse, we can handle our historical data. Historical data means not today data. Yesterday data was historical data. So whatever the transformations we are done in yesterday, all those things we can load into the our data warehouse. So that is nothing but ETL. So by using this ETL, we can fetch our historical data as well as our current data for developing the data warehouse. So in the data warehouse is nothing but it is the like I already said, right, it is a combination of current data and historical data. So by using those data, we want to create our data warehouse. For example, for example, if we are going to like watch the any matches, or if we for example, if we want to watch the any football match video, so there we can analyze, for example, if there will be any player is going to hit the higher score of goals. So previously based on our historical data, we need to identify like who will be in the highest scored and who will be in the highest goalkeeper, and who will be hitting the highest records in this year, and who will be the lowest record. So all these things is going to be possible by using the data warehouse, because we can load all our data into the our data warehouse, right? So that it's possible by using the data warehouse. So then we are coming to the why Azure Data Factory. Why means because nowadays the data is going to be uh, increased day by day. Huge volume of data is going to be increased. Now the data will be in the petabytes of data. How to handle the millions of records. So all these things we have to do the some orchestration, and we want to process the data, and also we want to do the some refinery view of our data. So for this business purpose, we want to use this Azure Data Factory, because it is the ETL tool. So we have to extract, transform, and load. So in the data factory, so there we can manage the build complex hybrid solutions. We can extract from the load, and also extract, transform, load, and the data integration services. All these things is going to be provided, so that the data factory is required. So then coming to the linked services. So linked services is nothing but connection string. For example, if you want to connect to the any storage account, so first of all you need to get the permissions, like you need one key to enter into the particular storage account. So that is nothing but the linked services. Let's take an example. We have the house. When we are going to enter into the our house, we need one key, right? Without key we can't enter into the our house, or any offices, or anything we can't enter, right, without keys. So that is nothing but the connection string, so which can define our connection information. So by using these linked services is going to be helpful to connect to the multiple sources. So we can connect to the data stores, and also we can do the some data computer resources. We can, if we can connect any resources, but linked services is required. For every storage account, one linked services is going to be required. For example, if you have the storage account, so if you are need to use the only one linked service, so that's not possible. For every storage account, one linked services is mandatory. So then coming to the data set. The data set is nothing but the for here we are already connected to any storage account, right? After connecting, we need to read our data. So for reading the data, we need the one data set. So this data set is going to be helpful to read the particular data, like any data, like CSV data, or JSON data, or Parquet data. So this is nothing but named view of our data. So this is going to be like our input data and output data, multiple data sets we want to create it to read our data. So when once we are creating the data set, so we are going to identify, like data within the different data stores, like such as tables or views or any documents. So that's the data is going to be represented in the structure like within the data stores, and also we can do the more refined view of our data. So by using this data set we can read our data. So after that, coming to the activity. So activity is nothing but it's represent a processing of steps in the pipeline. So for example, if you are created the multiple activities inside the pipeline, so there I think you needed to use the some step by step process. So first you have to identify the storage account. So after that you need to create the linked services. After that you need to create the data sets. So all these things is going to be managed by our integration runtime. So all this integration and everything is there in the our pipeline. So once we have to create the pipeline, inside the pipeline you have to use the multiple activities. So by using these all these things is nothing but activities. So once we are connected to the multiple sources, we can load data to the our sync to the our destination based on our requirement. So then coming to the pipeline. So pipeline is nothing but the it's a group of activities. So there we want to perform the some activities like we want to perform the any task. So all these things once we have to create the pipeline, so then only we are going to do the all the activities. So pipeline is nothing but group of activities. It is combination of the activities. So then coming to the integration runtime. Integration runtime is nothing but compute infrastructure. I have already said right. These linked services and data sets and everything is going to be managed by our integration runtime. So there we have the multiple types of integration runtimes. Later on this video I am going to explain. So coming to the types of storages. So in the Azure Data Factory, we have the different types of storage accounts. Like we have the blob storages and Azure Data Lake storage Gen 1 and Gen 2. Different types of storages available in the Azure Data Factory. So coming to the blob storages. So what is meant by blob storage? So blob storage is nothing but it helps to store the large amount of like unstructured data. Unstructured data is nothing but what mean we have the like text and images or any binary data or any JSON data. So all these things we are going to store into the our blob storages. So if there will be any disaster or anything is going to be happen, so for backup purpose all our data we can store into the blob storages. But inside the blob storage we have the like different types of blob storages, like what that means, append blobs and block blobs and page blobs. So then coming to the append blobs, so this append blobs is going to be helpful for storing the any logs or metadata if you want to update constantly. For example, if you need to update the data in the daily basis, so we cannot change the data whatever the data was there in the append blob. So after uploading we can't change. And also like we have the grow up to this append blob is going to be grow up to like 195 GB, it's going to be increased. So then coming to the blob, so when we want to store all the files in the blob, so there all the storage is going to be small. So it's going to be split the data like partitions, like one partition and two partition, it's going to be split. So this is going to be helpful whenever we want to store like file storage capacity of like 4.77 TB files of data we can store in the blob. So then coming to the this page blob. So these page blobs are optimized for a random read and write operation. For example, if you have any requirement on daily basis, you want to read and you want to update or you want to delete or you want to do any modification. So those scenarios, this page blobs is going to be more helpful if we can go for to the page blob. So then coming to the access types, like we have the different types of access types. So in the Azure, like what are those things? We have the like hot access types, and also we have the cool access types and archival access types. So then coming to the hot access type, so hot access type is the like most optimized for frequently access. If we want to store our data in any storage account, so your requirement is to access it frequently, means on the daily basis you need to access your data, and you are doing to some modifications, some test you need to do. So that is nothing but frequently you can access. That means very oftenly we can use our data, so that we can go for this hot step. Here the what is the drawback is, here the storage cost will be, here the whatever we want to store into the in the hot access, so here the storage cost will be high. So here the access will be the very low. So for immediate access we can show for this hot access tab. Then coming to the cool access tab. So cool access tab, so this is not how we are not access in a half only. We can access like after 1 month, or after 25 days, or after 35 days we can access all this data. Here means accessing cost is going to be increased, means use accessing cost, but storage cost will be very low. So if our requirement is if we want to load our data like after 1 month, or any like after 40 days or 50 days, so if our requirement was in this type of requirement, we can go for this access types like cool access type. So archival access type, so before this, all the before I am explained that those two access types, those things we can access like within a 1 month period of time we can access. But this archival access type, so this is designed for not accessing the frequently. So if we can load any data into this hot access type, so we can't access frequently. We can access like after 180 days only we can access our data. So if your requirement is nothing but is not accessed frequently, so we can go for this archival access type. So after that, coming to the this storage performance, so there we have the two types of performance, like standard performance and premium storage performance. So this standard performance is backup and managed and provided by the like low cost and GB. That means it provide the low cost. Like if we can store data in the standard premium, so cost will be very low. So if our application is going to be like any, we can access it in infrequently. So bulk storage we can store into the this storage performance we can select if our data will be in the bulk storage, or if we can access it in infrequently, so that we can go for this standard performance. If we can go for premium storage account, so in this premium storage account, there we can store all our data in the consistently and also low latency performance. So they can be only used through the whatever the virtual machines we have there, right? So by using the virtual machines and the disk are the best suitable. For example, if we want to do the any like input or output workloads, or if we want to do the any input and output operations, so for that scenario we can go for this premium storage access. So then after that, coming to the replicates in Azure. So replicates is nothing but in the Azure the storage accounts. Like we have to store our data in the backup. Like if there will be any one data center is going to be a failure, or any fault tolerance is going to be happen, but also our data is going to be backup, and it is going to be available in the another data center. So in the Azure Data Factory, we have the like four types of replicates, like local redundant storage, and geo redundant storage, and zone redundant storage, and read access geo redundant storage. So then coming to the local redundant storage, so this local redundant storage is nothing but if we have to load any one file of data, so there we have the like one data center, but we have the multiple copies of data. So our cost is going to be very low, because one data center, but we have the copies of three copies of data. If there will be any failure is going to be happen to our data center, or there will be anything happen, we can lose one copy of data. But also for backup we have the two copies of data. So if we can go for this local redundant storage, so storage cost is also going to be increased, and also we have to use the we have to have the two copies of data if we can lose the one copy of data. Then coming to the zone redundant storage. So in the zone redundant storage, we have the two data centers. So two data centers with six copies of data. But whatever the secondary storage, we have the three copies. Those things are only for read access. That is nothing but for backup purpose only we have to store. So here two data centers and six copies. If one data center is going to be happened, is failure is going to be happen or anything happen, so we have the another storage account. So by using those another storage account, we can get back to the our data. If there will be any failure is happen, we can lose three copies. But and also we have the secondary backup was there, right? That secondary storage account we have two three copies of data. So those things we can use if there will be any failure or anything is going to be happen. So then coming to the zone redundant storage. So this zone redundant storage, this is very costly storage account, because here we have the three data centers. Every data center is going to be stored only one data, but previously we have one data center, three copies of data. But now here one data center is going to be handle the one copy of data. So the if we are going to maintain these many data centers, so cost is going to be increased, because we have to maintain the cooling system and power, and we have to maintain all maintenance activities we want to use perform, because here we have the three data centers. So one data center is going to be down, we have the backup of two data centers. The second one also going to be down, we have the three data center was there, right? So by using that data center we can revert back to our data, but this is very costly compared to the previous ones. So then coming to the read access geo redundant storage. So this is nothing but previously I have already explained, right? We have the two data centers, six copies of data, but the two but the second data center's data we can't access. So but here we can read the remaining three copies of data also we can read. So in this data in this storage account. So that was the main advantages to use these things. So then coming to the demo. Then coming to the demo. Now I'm going to create the storage account. I want to create the storage account and create the storage account and data factory I need to create. So here I'm going to show you the video. So this is the Azure data. This is the Azure Microsoft Azure cloud. So Microsoft Azure cloud, it will provide the multiple sources, like multiple services it's going to be provided. Like but in this demo I am going to explain the how to create the data factory, and how to create the storage account, and how to create the keyword service set, and how to create the SQL database. These things I want to explain. So here now I am going to create the storage account. I have already one storage account, but now I need to create the one more storage account for this demo. So I am in the free trial account. I'm in the free trial subscription. So here if you have the resource, so then you need to select the particular resource. If you need to create the any new resources, so just to click on this resource. Now I am creating the my resource, my demo. So this is my resource account. So here I am going to give them my storage account name. So previously I have already explained, right? Like here I am going to give the storage account name. Here we have the region. So region is nothing but data centers. So Microsoft will provide these many data centers. It will provide. We have the different one. So but by defaultly for me I have selected East US. So previously I have explained, right? Standard and premium performance tiers. So then coming to redundancy. So I have explained replica and redundancy both are same. So here I have explained, right? Local redundant storage and geo redundant and zone redundant and geo zone redundant. So then after selecting the all the options, I am going to click on next advanced. So here it will showing the all the options. So these things I am going to explain later on this video session. So if we want to create the blob storages, we no need to enable we no need to uncheck the we no need to enable this option. So if we want to like create any data lake storage gen 2, so we are going to enable this option. So but now I have created only blob storage. So here I have explained, right, access types. We have two types of access types because I am in the free trial account. So for me it was showing the two access types only, like hot and cool access types. So then coming to networking, so these things we don't want to bother about those things. So then coming to, if for example, if there will be any happen to our data storage account, so we can lose our data. So we can dash to return our deleted blob. So we can retrieve our data, whatever data is going to be deleted. So all those data we are going to retrieve back. So then I'm clicking next. I'm clicking next. If you have to like created the any tags is nothing but if you have to create any tags like production or dev or test, so that whenever we have to use all the resources for billing, if finally the billing is going to be happen, then we can see like in the what team how much data is going to be used, like dev team how much data is they are going to use and how much resources they are going to use. All these things we are going to see once we are going to create this tag. So click on next review. So once the final validation is going to be done, so it's going to show the option called create. Yeah, now I'm creating the storage account. It will take 30 seconds of time. After that it's going to show the create our created storage account. Yeah, it was showing deployment succeeded. So now I'm going to the my storage account. So once you are into the our storage account, so I have already explained that these things. So this is my resource group. So this is my location, like data center location. Like here it was showing the performance style will be the standard. So replication like read access geo redundant it will store. So account kind, so that is nothing but storage account like general purpose v2. So v1 is already deprecated, so that we are using the v2. So here it was showing the like different types of options like overview and active logs and these things I'm going to explain later on this video. Then coming to the here it was showing the like different storages like containers and file share and queue and tables. So let's enter into the our storage account. So here I am going to create the my container, my demo. My container name is my demo. So my container demo is going to be created successfully. So inside this I am going to upload my files. So here I am uploading the my files. So my files is going to be uploaded successfully. So if you want to see the your files information, so you need to click this option. So then now it's showing this option like edit. So if you want to edit any data, so now you can edit these things. Here my data was in small data, so that we are going to edit, but our data will be in the very large volume of data, so then it's difficult to edit all this data. So but viewing purpose we can see here. So now you can see, right, how to create the storage account. So then back to data factory. Now I am need to created the data factory. So I have already two data factories, so but I need to create the one more data factory for this demo purpose. So I'm selected my resources. So here I'm going to give the my data factory name. My new data factory. The data factory name is going to be unique in the all data factories. So here I'm selecting the my region. Here my region is nothing but East US. So it was taking defaultly for me. So here the version v2. So version v1 is already deprecated. So click on next, git configuration. So I'm going to configure git later. I have already explained tags. So next, review plus create. So it will take 1 minute of time. After final validation it's going to be created. So validation passed, so it's going to be created. Once the deployment is completed, it's showing our data factory. So once it was showing data factory, there I can explain all those things like what are the linked services and the data sets and the activities, everything I am going to show you. So this is the page once you have created the data factory. So I'm click on launch studio. So once launching our studio, then it was showing the all these options. So here I'm going to explain everything, don't worry friends. So here I have created my data factory and everything it was showing. If you need to create any git repository, so here we can set up our code repository. So I'm going to explain this thing in later. So this was the home option. So this was the author tab. So this was the monitor. This was the manage tab. But this option Microsoft people are introduced in newly. So click on author tab. So this author tab, it was showing all these options like pipelines and to change data capture. So this option also will be in the preview mode because recently Microsoft people entered into this option. They are introduced in recently this option. So but the remaining options is going to be old options only, like data sets and data flows and power queries. So after that, click on monitor. So in the monitor here we can see all those things. Dashboarding, if you need to create any dashboard, so once you have to create your dashboard, all your activities and everything is going to be showing into the your dashboard itself only. So here once we can run our pipeline, so here we can see our pipeline runs and the triggers if you have to like trigger any pipelines. So here it will showing the all the triggers like how many triggers is going to be run and how many triggers is going to be fail. So change the data caption. Still it was in preview mode, it's going to be visible to the users in the coming videos. So that once it was in the open, I am going to explain this thing as well. So then coming to the integration runtime, and also we have the data flow debugs and alerts and metrics. So these alerts and metrics, instead of these triggers, we can use these alerts and metrics for the notification purpose. So then coming to this managed tab. So in the managed tab, it was showing the multiple options. Like we want to select any our data factory settings. If you need to change anything, we can do this. We can enable this option. So here the linked services and micro integration runtimes and Git configurations and ARM templates. And it was showing the different options like triggers and global parameters and also data flow libraries, credentials, and everything it was showing. So this was the also new feature Microsoft people entered introduced it recently. So this is the learning page. If you want to learn any Microsoft the kind of things, here you can learn all those things. Like we have the like videos kind of thing also there, and tutorials also, template gallery and quick start. So if you are facing any problem to understand the things, so we can directly go to the Microsoft documentation. There we can search and we can learn. So now I have created my data factory and everything I am explaining. So later on this video, next video I am going to create it on the demo sessions. Now you can see the all the resources, right, how to create it, all those things. So here I want to show you in this video I am going to show you to how to create the pipeline. So this was my pipeline name. So in this video I am not creating any pipeline, so just I am showing the all the activities, what are the activities we have there. So here we have to drag and drop all these things like copy data activity. Like this you want to drag and you can drop it. So I'm going to create the demo session on next video. So here copy data activity under data flows, and it was showing the synapse notebooks and also Spark job definitions, and also it was showing the like Azure Data Explorer and Azure functions. So all these activities I'm going to explain and I will do the demos. No, don't worry friends. So it was showing the Databricks like Databricks notebook, jar files and Python. All these things it was showing. So but in mainly we can use all these things like filter and for each, all these things we are good. Don't worry friends, I'm going to explain each and everything in this video series. So next video I'm going to create the pipeline from the one storage account to the another storage. Next video I'm going to explain all these things. Thank you friends, thank you so much for the watching this. Please do subscribe and like and share and hit the bell icon if you like the video, and please do your comments on the comment sections. If I need to improve or if I need to add the any content, I need to explain anything, please let me know so that I am going to explain. Thank you, bye bye.